Hi, Mark Seymour here again. Welcome to the deep dive for inventory. Here we're going to have a slightly more detailed run through of the various inventory transactions that exist within riteSCAN. We will also cover elements of how pallet management interacts with those inventory transactions. So let's climb right into it. If you have watched the original overview video, you will already be familiar with the riteSCAN touchscreen client interface. You will find later on in the video stack, there are also overviews of the handheld client Android interface. So if you'd like to see how the two interfaces differ, you're welcome to take a look through that particular video. So let's jump right in. First things, very simply, we all are familiar with an inventory query. Here, I'm going to jump in, and what can an operator do? Really just scan, type in or enter a stock code, and riteSCAN immediately goes straight off to SysPro through the E.NET Business Object layer or integration layer and returns live SysPro information. What have we got? Things like warehouse, what's on hand, what's available, allocated to sales, allocated to WIP, what's inspection, on order, on back order, etc., etc. Now, very quick and simple, easy to use inventory query, specifically designed around the operator. We don't want to provide the operator with too much information. Typically, if they're using handhelds or mobiles, too much information can be confusing. What we're able to do here is modify this interface. If we want to remove fields and we only want them to see on hand, we can do that. Further down the page, you will see bin information. If you are one of those organizations that are using multiple bins in your warehouses, here you will see that bin information for stock code A100. And what you can do in the inventory query screen, if needed, you can select a warehouse here and filter, and that'll give you the breakdown of stock over the various bins within the facility. So, inventory query, quick, easy, straightforward. If you have a need to view any extended or additional stock code information found in SysPro, there's the little eye icon in the top right-hand corner, and here you can see a full breakdown of all the relevant information applicable to that product code in SysPro, now presented on your mobile device. So jumping out of inventory query, let's go into the most common transaction within our organization, typically your warehouse transfer. So again, very quickly, we are able to simply scan a stock code. Again, if you have stock that is already barcoded from suppliers, you are able to capture within SysPro a whole host of alternate stock codes or barcodes, and we will then, when scanned, effectively pick up your stock code and input that into riteSCAN. So back to the core transaction, I've entered my stock code. You will notice just to the right there is a little inventory query icon. So when I am in a module, if I have a need to run a quick query, I can do so straight from the one screen without exiting and traveling to another screen input. But here we go. I can very quickly and easily enter the quantity I want to move. And as is typical within SysPro, you have your warehouse from and to. Here, I'm going to enter my FG warehouse, and you'll notice riteSCAN immediately opens up the bin field to the right. So quickly, we have done a check. We know it's a multi-bin warehouse, and it is now asking me for the bin that I am wanting to consume that stock from or transfer that stock from. So here, very cool little features that you will notice is there are browse icons next to each field. What are they? You have your warehouse browse. That's going to show your operators very quickly what stock or what amounts or what quantity is sitting in each warehouse. Operators can pick and select, and that'll populate. From a bin perspective, if you're a multi-bin facility, very powerful. We've selected our warehouse. Now riteSCAN presents us a filtered down view of the stock, what's on hand, what's available in each bin location, making it very easy to find if I don't know where my stock is. If you are a lot traceable environment, if I enter a lot traceable number here, we can see riteSCAN also opens up the lot field, and very cool is the quick browse of all available lots in the applicable warehouse. So here we can see a lot number and expiry date, the warehouse bin, and what's available. Again, operators are able to pick and populate from this screen, or quite nifty in riteSCAN, we can block people from manually selecting. So what that means is you may not select manually, you have to scan. Why is that important? We make sure that what transaction we are performing is validated correct to that item because we are forcing operators to scan it. Use it, don't use it, it's available. Our to warehouse, very simple. I'm going to select the N warehouse and I'm just going to select the N bin. Things like reference and note, as is typical and standard to SysPro, here we can force the capture of reference and note if you would like. In this instance, I'll just leave that. And I select post. riteSCAN returns with a post successful message. What this means, the detail is within SysPro. No questions asked. All right, so let's jump back out. We don't need to transact in each and every module, but a very quick run through a bin transfer. If I'm using multiple bins, again, here we enter our warehouse. You'll notice the browse option on the top right. Here we would scan our stock code. We would enter in the from and to bin, and we would select post, and very quickly your transfer is done. I think we can jump back out of bin transfer and quickly move on. Let's take a look at stock take. So stock take, very straightforward. We create our stock take within SysPro as we currently do, and then we deploy our operators onto the floor where they will enter the warehouse and commence to scan the individual items, enter the quantity and post. That information now flowing directly into the SysPro stock take tables, eradicating any previous data capture that might have been needed directly in the SysPro front end, and now available for immediate variance reporting. If we are not happy with some of our items, we can get or turn riteSCAN into increase or replace, and we can send operators back out to do a recount of anything we're not happy with. When we're happy, we can very simply confirm our stock take and we're done. Huge saving in time, very quick and easy and straightforward. You will see a little browse icon to the right of the stock code field. This either turn on or turn off. What this allows you to do is simply view the items that are to be included. So whatever was created and included in the SysPro stock take, here you're able to browse and view. The nice thing about it, it's blind. You can't see what stock is on hand, but you can see what needs to be counted, and you can see the quantity that you have already counted. Right, so let's jump back out of stock take. Items like quantity adjustment, again, pretty straightforward, nothing special here, but if we want our operators, or more likely our supervisors, to be able to perform any particular quantity adjustment, riteSCAN will do that from the handheld and update SysPro live. Expense issues, exactly the same. If we're an organization, when we're expensing items, various consumables, and we want to expense that off to a ledger code, here we're able to do so. We can either default ledger codes or allow for the manual enter of a ledger code. Again, nothing much heavy to talk about here. An expense issue is an expense issue, but can be done in riteSCAN. Inventory receipt or miscellaneous receipt, once again, straightforward. Enter my warehouse. If I'm bins, I select my bin, stock code, quantity, and post. Standard inventory receipt here and available. What else is available in the standard inventory type transaction set? Bin query. This really just making life a little bit easier for the operator. You might find an operator approaches a physical bin location. They can simply scan that bin location and riteSCAN will present what the system understands should be sitting in that bin. So really just an ease of use type tool set. All right, just a couple things to mention within this inventory transaction set. Pallets can be used throughout. So we have a deep dive video looking closer at pallets, but very simply, in any of these transaction sets, if I'm a business that uses pallets, pallets effectively allowing for the grouping of multiple items with multiple lots and multiple serials if required onto a single carrying entity, I'm able to very quickly turn riteSCAN into pallet mode, and here I can scan a pallet ID and then move whatever items, whatever mixed lots, whatever mixed cereals on that particular pallet in a single transaction. So in riteSCAN on the floor, I scan one ID. What's posted through to Syspro is the individual lines with their individual quantities. So very simple, easy to use. Again, pallets, there is a deep dive later on in the video stack, but it can be used through every single transactional interface within riteSCAN. Very quickly, before I disappear, what we can include within the inventory stack of transactions found on the orders tab, goods in transit. If you have Syspro GIT activated in your Syspro environment, here, very simple, enter a stock code or again a pallet, the quantity from and to warehouse, post. If you need to trigger any particular labels at that point, when we reach our destination warehouse, scan our item in, receipt it, close off the transaction. If you have any discrepancies, go straight to your GIT variance report. So again, very easy to use, quick transaction, also allowing for the use of pallets for easy movement when needed. Right, so that pretty much brings us to the end of our deep dive into manufacturing. Again, if you need a more detailed and more in-depth look at the various transactions within riteSCAN and how this can be applied to your environment, please get hold of us at sales@trg.co.za. Otherwise, thank you, and please visit some of the later videos in the deep dive transaction set. Bye-bye.